Good evening, friends. This is Rahul Magan here as a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. Today, we're going to talk about a pretty interesting topic, which at least I myself is focusing in a very detailed manner on a minutely basis every day because I think that being a young guy of 36, this war is once in lifetime, and there is a hell lot of learnings we will get out of this war. Who will win? Only the time will tell. Very difficult to predict because both players are not only competent, financially strong, but have very strong presence of mind. Without guess, I'm talking about Amazon versus Reliance. On one side, we have Mr. Jeff Bezos, the man who started from selling books online, and today he is the founder of Amazon. And in another few years, he would be the world's first trillionaire. I'm talking about an organization who is not only ruling the Wall Street, but who also made a lot of things possible which no one ever thought. Amazon is a brand in itself and would continue to be. And we would like to thank you, Mr. Jeff Bezos, for showing a leadership, visionaryship, and a dedicated way how to do the business. On the other side, we are having Mr. Ambani, a very competent, well-devised businessman who thinks 20 years ahead the line. He might be living in 2020, but he is thinking where Reliance would be in 2040. Never be a complacent person, always think ahead of time, keep moving, keep doing different permutation combination, and the end result, he is not only amongst the richest man in the Asia, in fact in the world, but also made Reliance one of the powerful companies across the globe from petroleum till telecommunications. What he achieved in Geo in less than 3 years, and I think around 3 years, is something which most of the so-called business schools professors, those who teach business strategy, never thought about. And the end result, Mr. Ambani and Mr. Jeff Bezos once again proved that the business strategies cannot be taught in the business school because leaders are born, they are not made. And business schools, by the way, are not competent enough to create leaders. Rather, they only tune people because the real leaders like Mr. Ambani, Mr. Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, most of them are having roots from the scratch, and their deep rooted practical knowledge is helping themselves to reach to the higher level in the life. Example: Amazon, Reliance, Berkshire, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and the list is very long. But this week, Reliance once again came up with us with a spark. And I think Reliance proved that Mr. Ambani is not only serious about the e-commerce, but Mr. Ambani is thinking 360-degree e-commerce. So the difference between e-commerce and 360-degree e-commerce can be explained only by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, because he proved it that e-commerce is not about selling books. Rather, you can sell everything except airplane. God knows he is having plans to sell airplanes also on Amazon.com by 2026. You will get planes on Amazon.com. So Reliance is 360-degree e-commerce, and Reliance is touching every corner of e-commerce, and this time it is pharma sector. Reliance Industries Limited latest acquisition of 60% stake in online pharmacy Netmeds amounting 620 crores will not only strengthen its e-commerce play but also add significantly to the healthcare portfolio that Reliance is building on the back of Geo. That is exactly right. With a series of acquisitions in the healthcare space, including Care Expert, C Square, and Netmeds, Reliance Industries will eventually integrate its brick and mortar presence in this segment with a tech-enabled offering to create boutique of services that can be monetized through delivery, transaction-based services, and subscription services. By the way, the Indian pharma retail market with a revenue opportunity of around 35 billion has three main categories: generic drugs, over-the-counter drugs, and patented products. Generic are over 70%, which is around 13 billion. Over-the-counter oblique patent is about 21 and 9% respectively. We estimate the domestic retail market to grow at 10 to 12% CAGR to 30 billion by 2024, driving by increasing affordability, rising healthcare awareness, and technological enabled investment to improve as per Bank of America. Securities. The article published, I think, on 20th August. So Mr. Ambani is not about net mats. He acquired three companies and slowly he is building the e-commerce space, for Reliance. But the biggest weapon is definitely not the e-commerce, rather he is adding retail part into it, and that too in a very strategized way, which is very interesting to see. And that is what the beauty of a good businessman is, that he is thinking about five things at a given point of time, and he knew how to integrate these five things. That is what make people Jeff Bezos, Mr. Ambani, Warren Buffett and all, because at a given point of time they think 5 points rather than focusing on the one, which is multitasking. And by the way, that point is the future group. And Mr. Ambani in this latest AGM also said that sooner or later, or very soon, Reliance Retail will have strategic investments from the various players. He not mentioned the name, and I think it was also not essential to mention the name at that given point of time, but to an intelligent person, the hint is sufficient. He gave the hint, and all intelligent person understood that Geo second is definitely on the cards as early as possible. But on 21st August, we got a different news, and that news is about Future Group. And that news is the board of Future Enterprise Limited, which is FEL, likely to discuss on Saturday the proposal to merge other listed groups such as Future Lifestyle, Future Retail, and Future Supply Chain with itself. What surprised me in this first paragraph is not what they mentioned, whether the future consumer was missing. I was literally amazed whether it was deliberate or it was not deliberate. Commenting right now is very difficult because in the earlier articles, as I told you that I am following this case very diligently and minutely. In the earlier information, it was very clearly mentioned the future consumer, but future consumer is absent in the first column. That is something sparking me. But at this point of time, speculating about future consumer, it's really tough, at least to me. Once the process is complete, and we really do not know when the process is complete, Reliance Industries Limited will be investing around 8,500 crores in the merged entity by the way of additional capital, resulting Mukesh Ambani-led conglomerate owing close to 50% in that. Set a source close to the deal, the fund infused by Reliance will be used to repay to the lenders. So basically, the Future Enterprise Limited would be merging the Future Lifestyle, Future Retail, Future Supply Chain, and in this whole merged entity, Mr. Ambani would be investing around 8,500 crores to the tune of 50% of the combined entity. About the rest 50%, no information, so speculation is tough. But something was missing in column 1 and column 2, and as soon as I read to column 3, I got it. The stake of US based online retail giant Amazon, which is around 9.9% in Future Retail, will also get diluted in the merged process. According to a banking source, Amazon has climbed down from the earlier position as a loan default. Amazon has climbed down from its earlier position as a loan default by Future is imminent. It means Amazon 9.9% stake in the future retail will definitely dilute it, and how this dilution work I cannot explain because it's an investment banking term and it depends upon how the merged entity will shape up, and tax structures and multiple things really matters. But one thing that ignites is this. On July 2nd, Future Retail has failed to make a coupon payment of around 14 million, which is to the tune of 100 crores for its 500 million senior secured notes. The 30-day grace period ends Saturday, which is yesterday, day before yesterday. The lenders to the Future Enterprise also getting an additional sweetener in the deal, with the real estate of the group companies expected to be transferred to the new entity, with the banks getting full control of that asset. Though the Future Group has promised to repay bank debt by selling its two insurance ventures, the deal didn't take place because the deadline set by the lenders. Future Consumer is not included in the deal. Hey guys, one side, Amazon is expanding at a much faster pace. There's no doubt about that. And Amazon is investing heavily in India. Because Amazon understand that they cannot leave India, because India is a big retail market of the globe. In fact, all the retail players wanted to have a share in India. And the way Amazon is positioned in e-commerce, and especially the technological part of the e-commerce, is amazing. That is amazing. Except airplane, they are selling everything on their platform. On the other side, Mr. Ambani is ambitious to enter in e-commerce and of course the retail part of e-commerce, and he is thinking 360-degree e-commerce covering almost everything. Well, Future Group currently is in very tough position, and I have told multiple times on my YouTube channel that all the companies, those who are raising money within or outside India on a going concern note, should first tell the investors that whether they would be able to repay this money or not. That's more important. In fact, in the statutory audit, the statutory auditor should make it mandatory. Regulators make it mandatory to let statutory auditor know, or to let statutory auditor know the investors on a quarterly note in writing that the company is in a position to repay the debt which is currently outstanding in the books. But anyways, this will never happen, at least in our system. Because for that, Big Fours need to work hard. Big Fours need to let investor know. And by the way, investor themselves do not willing to have this information because their knowledge level is, So this is having multiple repercussions. Number one, I would like to conclude this video with few questions rather. I will say in that way. Number one, what would be the impact of that on Reliance? To me, it is definitely conducive. Number two, is Future is the only thing Reliance is currently targeting, or there are multiple enterprises listed or non-listed? Reliance, it is listed or non-listed on the radar of Reliance. मोटा भाई, इसके बाद एक और कंपनी है, रिसर्च करी थी, नहीं करी थी ना, मैं बताता हूँ। पिछले 2 महीने से उस कंपनी का शेयर प्राइस फ्लैट है, कोई मूव ही नहीं हो रहा है। अब क्या करें? ओहो, हिंदी मीडिया ने तो बताया नहीं होगा, कोई बात नहीं। Point number 3, should investor take positions in Future Enterprise? If yes, at what level? But one thing is sure, that the great leaders, rather the great business people like Mr. Jeff Bezos, Mr. Ambani and all, they once again proved that COVID-19 is just in newspapers. Their business plans will definitely not get impacted by COVID-19. Rather, they emerged well in COVID-19. So all those companies, those who are saying that COVID-19 or treating COVID-19 as an excuse, and especially the Indian startups, those who treat themselves as unicorns, they should learn from these two companies that they are not only profitable, rather the way they are organizing or the way they are expanding their business in a very delicate and in a timely way. And that is what I think is the right strategy. This side Rahul Magan from Treasury Consulting. You know our WhatsApp 9818485155. But before to conclude the video, I would like to repeat my favorite line in the business, and that is, if business people can be defined or tuned in the business schools, then there was no requirement for Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Mr. Jeff Bezos and all. A great businessman is always born on the roads because they start their journeys from the scratch, and their deep rooted knowledge comes from the practical experiences of the life rather than the theoretical exercises in the business schools. And the end result is these business people not only defined their status, but every day they are growing. And these so-called business school people, those who come out of it and starting their startups, they are just on the toes of the venture capitalist for funding. And by the way, 99.99% of these so-called business, those who comes out from the B schools, they even do not, as of now, see P of profits. This side Rahul Magan from Treasury Consulting. I am very happy that the great leaders are teaching us a lot of new things, almost complementary, and we are luckiest man, those who getting a lot of learnings from these people. But once again, you will treat this as an article in the newspaper, or you will imbibe these knowledge in yourself. That is on you. Or third thing, Hindi media. Have a great time. Thank you.